You wake up, you go to work, you pay your bills, you save a little when you can, and you tell yourself you're doing everything right. You're not reckless with money. You're not living beyond your means. You're following the rules everyone told you would lead to stability and success. But here's what nobody mentions. That same path that promises security might actually be the thing quietly locking you into a life where real progress becomes almost impossible. This isn't about blaming anyone or pretending there's some magic solution. This is about understanding how the very decisions we're told are responsible can sometimes trap us in a cycle that looks safe on the surface, but slowly drains away the chance to build anything beyond just getting by. Think about what most people are taught from the moment they start understanding money. Get a good education, find a stable job, buy a house, get a reliable car, maybe finance it if you have to, and keep your head down. Work hard, be loyal to your employer, and eventually things will work out. That advice isn't necessarily wrong, but it's incomplete. It misses a massive part of the equation. It assumes that simply doing what you're supposed to do will automatically lead to financial freedom, when in reality it often leads to something very different. It leads to a state where you're constantly busy, constantly earning, constantly spending, but never actually getting ahead. You're moving, but you're not progressing. You're active, but you're stuck. Here's how it starts. You get that stable job everyone talked about. It pays decently. It covers your expenses. You feel like you've made it because you're no longer struggling the way you did in your early 20s. You can afford rent or a mortgage. You can buy groceries without checking your account balance every time. And you might even have a little left over each month, so you start adding things. You upgrade your car because the old one feels embarrassing now that you have a professional job. You move to a nicer apartment or buy a house because that's what people at your income level are supposed to do. You subscribe to services that make life easier. You eat out more often because you're tired from work and cooking feels like another task on an endless list. None of these decisions feel extravagant in the moment. They feel reasonable. They feel earned. But here's the trap that's being set without you realizing it. Every single one of those reasonable decisions comes with a fixed cost that you now have to cover every single month. Your income might have gone up, but so have your obligations. And those obligations aren't flexible. Your mortgage doesn't care if you had a bad month. Your car payment doesn't pause because you want to try something new with your career. Your subscriptions keep renewing whether you use them or not. You've built a lifestyle that requires you to keep earning at your current level just to maintain what you already have. You haven't built wealth. You've built dependence. This is where the middle-class trap really reveals itself. You're earning more than you ever have, but you feel like you can't afford to take risks. You can't afford to leave your job even if you hate it because your expenses are locked in. You can't afford to invest time in learning a new skill that might pay off later because you need every hour of work to cover this month's bills. You can't afford to start a business or pursue a different path because the gap between your current income and zero income is terrifying when you have obligations stacked up. So you stay. You stay in the job that's slowly draining you. You stay on the path that feels safe but leads nowhere new. And the years start passing faster than you expected. Meanwhile, there's another layer to this that makes it even harder to escape. The tax structure in most developed economies is designed in a way that disproportionately affects people who earn their money through active labor. When you work a job, you get a paycheck, and a significant portion of that paycheck is taken before you even see it. Income tax, payroll tax, Social Security contributions, all of it comes out automatically. You're taxed on your effort, on your time, on the hours you trade for money. But people who make their money through investments, through ownership, through assets that generate passive income, they play by a different set of rules. Capital gains are often taxed at lower rates. Depreciation can offset income. There are strategies available to people with assets that simply don't exist for people whose only asset is their labor. So not only are you stuck in a cycle of trading time for money, but you're also being taxed more heavily on that exchange than people who've already built wealth. Now let's talk about the things that are supposed to help you build wealth but often do the opposite. Take your home, for example. You're told that buying a house is the smartest financial move you can make. It's an investment. It's building equity. It's better than paying rent and getting nothing in return. And sure, there's some truth to that, but it's not the whole truth. When you buy a house, especially early in your mortgage, the vast majority of your monthly payment goes to interest, not equity. You're paying the bank for the privilege of borrowing their money. On top of that, you now have property taxes, maintenance costs, insurance, and repairs. All of those are expenses that don't build wealth. They're the cost of ownership, and if you had to sell that house tomorrow, you'd lose money on realtor fees, closing costs, and all the repairs you'd need to make it market ready. Your house isn't a liquid asset. It's not something you can easily convert to cash when you need it. It's a place to live, and it's expensive to maintain. Calling it an investment without understanding the full picture can be misleading. Then there's the car. You need reliable transportation, especially if you live somewhere without good public transit, so you finance a car. Maybe you lease one because the monthly payment is lower and you get to drive something nicer. But here's what's happening. You're paying interest on a depreciating asset. The moment you drive that car off the lot, it loses value. Every month you make a payment, the car is worth less, but you're still paying the same amount. And when the loan is finally paid off, or the lease ends, you don't own something valuable. You own something that's lost a huge chunk of its original value and will continue to lose more. Meanwhile, the payments you made could have been going towards something that actually grows in value over time, but instead, they went to a necessity that costs you money to own. This is the pattern that defines the middle-class trap. You're surrounded by things that feel like assets but are actually liabilities disguised as progress. You're told to buy things that make you look successful, but those things require you to keep working harder just to maintain them. And because you're so focused on covering the costs of the life you've built, you never have the breathing room to step back and ask if there's a better way. You're too busy surviving your own success to actually build anything that lasts. Let's talk about what happens to your time in this situation. Time is the one resource you can never get back. It's finite, it's irreplaceable. And when you're stuck in the middle-class trap, your time is spoken for. You spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day at work. You spend more time commuting. You spend your evenings recovering from work, handling household tasks, trying to squeeze in a little relaxation before you do it all over again. Your weekends are for catching up on everything you couldn't do during the week. Where in that schedule is the space to learn something new? Where is the time to build something on the side? Where is the opportunity to invest in yourself in a way that might actually change your financial trajectory? It doesn't exist. And that's by design, not because someone is intentionally trapping you, but because the system you're operating in rewards consistency and stability, not innovation or risk-taking. Here's another piece of the puzzle. Lifestyle inflation is one of the most dangerous forces working against you, and it happens so gradually that you don't even notice it. Every time you get a raise, every time your income goes up, your expenses tend to rise right along with it. You earn more, so you spend more. You justify it because you're working harder, because you deserve it, because everyone around you is doing the same thing. But what you're really doing is resetting your baseline. You're adjusting your standard of living to match your income, which means you're no better off than you were before. You're just doing the same thing at a higher price point. The gap between what you earn and what you keep stays the same, or it even shrinks, because the more you earn, the more taxes you pay, and the more expensive your lifestyle becomes. So what's the alternative? How do you escape this trap once you realize you're in it? It starts with a shift in how you think about money. Instead of focusing on how much you earn, you need to focus on how much you keep. Instead of measuring success by your job title or your house size, you need to measure it by how much freedom you're actually building. Freedom to choose. Freedom to walk away from things that don't serve you. Freedom to take risks without risking everything. That kind of freedom doesn't come from earning more, it comes from needing less. It comes from being intentional about what you allow into your life and what you keep out. You have to start treating money differently. Every dollar that comes in should have a job. Some of it covers your necessities, absolutely. But some of it needs to be directed toward things that will generate more money without requiring more of your time. That might mean investing in assets that produce income. That might mean learning skills that increase your value in the marketplace. That might mean building something small on the side that has the potential to grow. The goal is to slowly reduce your dependence on trading time for money and increase your ability to generate value in other ways. This doesn't mean you have to quit your job tomorrow or live like you're broke. It means you have to be smarter about the choices you make. It means resisting the urge to upgrade your lifestyle every time your income increases. It means asking yourself whether the things you're buying are truly adding value to your life or just adding cost. It means being willing to look different from the people around you, because the people around you are probably stuck in the same trap. It means prioritizing long-term stability over short-term comfort. And that's hard. It's uncomfortable. It goes against every message you've been given about what success is supposed to look like. But here's the truth. The middle-class trap isn't something that happens to you. It's something you participate in, usually without realizing it. And the moment you understand how it works, you can start making different choices. You can start building a life that isn't just about maintaining what you have, but about creating something better. You can start playing a different game, one where the goal isn't just to survive, but to thrive. And that starts with recognizing that the safe path isn't always the smart path, and that real security doesn't come from doing what everyone else is doing. It comes from thinking clearly, acting intentionally, and building something that gives you options instead of obligations. If this perspective challenged the way you think about money and success, hit that like button. Drop a comment and let me know what part of this resonated with you or what you disagree with. And if you want more content that cuts through the noise and helps you think differently about building wealth, subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.